Hello there, patrons, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus Series, the show where your favorite. We don't have like the show where we have for this.
Grandmasters, I guess.
Yeah.
Your
It's the Versus Series, everybody. The show that you pay for.
Yes.
That we're not great at sometimes.
Glad to have you with us very patiently.
Yes, schedules didn't permit for a spooky season episode this year. We'll make up for it next year. I think to make up for it next year, we do have to make good on our promise to eventually use the Emperor for something.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that's how we make up for it next year, was we finally use Palpatine.
I have a thought on
which
that.
we've been circling for a very long time as to how we would do it.
It'll require a deep dive in the research category. But I might have an idea.
Okay. I'm down for it. I'm in.
I might have an idea.
Yeah, we are here to do a matchup I'm very excited for. Because I don't think there's any original clever matchups anymore. Again, I did this sounds good in my mind. And then when I began researching, what's the first thing I see? That Jen Sarai already did it.
Yes.
But this time I deliberately did not watch his video.
I know I saw it like in the
when it
junior
probably
high,
came out, yeah.
But I haven't touched it since then. So I'm going in pretty much fresh.
Yeah, I've done my Satele research, and I've done everything in my power to not maybe accidentally poison myself with Jen Sarai's video, because I feel like we would have differing verdicts, and I want to save myself before I were to stumble into it. So I don't know. We're again, like we did last time, we will be recording this month's and next month's at the same time. So we'll be recording Kit Fisto versus Mace Windu after this. Yes, Bill's Mafia.
Yeah, you'll get 2 episodes of Bill's Mafia up in here. But
and 2 episodes of me not wearing Roosevelts with a very rare episode. Jedi Kalen's one of my favorite shops online. But probably between this episode and that one, I'll probably end up just like zipping to the end of whatever Jen Sarai's verdict is, just out of curiosity to see how lined up we are. But yeah, very, very excited to do this one. So Spencer, would you like to explain how this show works to any newbies?
I would love to. So if you are returning with us, thank you again for your continued patronage. If you are new, thank you for signing up. We love to do this kind of stuff. It's something that we say on pretty much every episode we have always wanted to do. But in any case, here's the format for our Versus series. So Jared and I have both researched a specific character to learn the ins and outs, the specifics of their abilities, and to pit them against one another in 5 categories to determine who would get a soft edge in each of those categories. Those 5 categories are physical attributes, how tall they are, how strong they are, how hard of a hit they can take and keep fighting, stuff like that. Martial arts ability is number 2. That is purely their swordplay and hand-to-hand combat abilities, if applicable. 3rd is force ability. Pretty self-explanatory there. 4th is weapons and equipment. And 5th is tactical ability and mindset. What is their strategy going into a fight? How do they alter their strategy throughout the course of the duel, etc.? So after we have gone through each of those 5 categories and assigned a soft verdict for each of those categories, then we will enter into our final theoretical breakdown for the matchup. Now, an element that to our knowledge is still unique to us is an arena that is,
and even if it isn't, we'll still claim it is.
Yes, because we've never seen one.
I've not seen it, which means it does not exist.
Nothing is true unless observed by you. Is that a Nietzsche thing, or is that a Sartre? I don't know. Anyway, I know some famous philosopher said that. Anyway, probably an existentialist like Nietzsche. But so we have, for the entire season.
You have a giant fuzzy. This is definitely from putting your sweater on.
Thank you very much.
It was distracting because all I can see is the top of your head looking at it.
If you guys saw it, comment. Anyway, we at the beginning of each season choose a list of arenas that we think would be cool settings for a matchup, and then we cross them off the list, choosing them at random every time. So we are down to 4 arenas to choose from on the season. We will choose one of those 4 remaining arenas at random.
3. Oh, there's a 4. Oh, I couldn't see the 4th in the middle. Sorry.
We will choose one of those 4 at random before we begin the theoretical fight breakdown, and that does make a difference. We have seen it happen several times where, depending on the arena that they fight in, one contender gets a leg up over the other. So without further ado, we would love to introduce to you our first contender, Jared.
Yeah, this is my first time reading this bio. So I'm excited. I'm excited. It's cold. Satele Shan, a direct descendant of Revan and Bastila Shan, was born around 3700 BBY and inducted into the Jedi Order at a young age. After spending roughly 20 years studying at the temple, she traveled to Korriban, the Sith homeworld of the Sith, to study under Jedi Battlemaster Kaosen Darach, during which time she witnessed the recapturing of the planet by the Sith Empire. Shan fought off the Sith Lord Malgus and his master alongside Darach, but Darach gave his life to ensure her escape. After informing the Republic of the reemergence of the Sith Empire, Shan led Republic forces into countless battles during the Great Galactic War, many of them alongside Republic trooper Jace Malcolm, with whom she eventually had a love affair. Shan and Malcolm fought off the Sith invasion of Alderaan, during which Shan defeated Darth Malgus, though she sensed he survived the encounter. Shan participated in peace negotiations with the Sith, but these negotiations were merely a distraction, which allowed Malgus' Sith army to sack the Jedi Temple on Coruscant and hold Coruscant hostage. Forced to unfavorable terms, the Republic entered a period of Cold War with the Sith, during which period Shan was called by the Force on a journey that would lead her to a long-lost homeworld of the Jedi Tython, with fragile peace failing. I'm sorry. The newly appointed Jedi Grandmaster Shan helped restabilize the galaxy by leading an invasion fleet of the Sith capital Dromund Kaas, with the Sith Emperor defeated. Shan later formed a truce with Darth Maul to defeat the Order of Revan on Yavin 4. Eventually, the Eternal Empire defeated both Galactic Republic and the Sith, and a disheartened Shan renounced the title of Grandmaster and went into exile.
That she did.
And
her opponent. Born on an unknown planet to an unknown species around 896 BBY, Yoda's deeply inherent connection to the Force set him above his peers, and by the time of the High Republic era, had already earned a seat on the Jedi High Council. Yoda continued training Padawan after Padawan until Dooku became his last apprentice. After Dooku passed the trials, Yoda effectively retired from taking Padawan learners and instead devoted his time to serving as Grand Master of the Order and to training younglings. Though he personally protested, Yoda allowed Obi-Wan Kenobi to train Anakin Skywalker as a Jedi after the Battle of Naboo. During the Battle of Geonosis, Yoda personally led the newly adopted clone army into battle and acted as the leading strategist for the assault. After saving Skywalker and Kenobi and forcing his former apprentice Count Dooku to flee after an intense duel, Yoda led the way for the Jedi through the entirety of the Clone Wars. Despite his skill with Force premonition, Yoda was unable to see the danger of the Sith or the fall of the Jedi Order. Escaping from Order 66, Yoda confronted Darth Sidious in the main house of the Galactic Senate, but was unable to kill Sidious. He was rescued by Bail Organa and witnessed the birth of the Skywalker twins before going into exile on Dagobah until the time came for him to train Luke Skywalker in the ways of the Force. After Luke left Dagobah for Cloud City, Yoda's health finally began to fail, and he died upon Luke's return. Despite this, his time as a Jedi Master was not over, as he became a Force ghost and continued to provide guidance to Luke and his trainee, Rey. On Exegol, Yoda reached out with the Force to help Rey defeat Sidious and the Sith once and for all. And with that,
until episode 10, inevitably. But we were doing a battle of the Grandmasters. I'm excited for this one. I think Satele Shan is a fighter who gets written off as like a 2 or 3 trick pony, and I think she's got that dog in her, which has become one of my favorite phrases ever.
She's crafty,
and I'm excited for this one, and I'm also excited again in trying to keep my mind towards the inevitable tournament that like the other people she will be in contention with on either side of the bracket, and how that becomes a fun.
Okay.
Again, on either side, you end up with some really fun matchups.
Yeah.
But I will jump into physical attributes for Grandmaster Shan. We're using her at the time of her being 59 years of age. So during the campaign of SWTOR, where she's, adventuring with the hero of Typhon and all of those things. She's incredibly flexible and acrobatic. She clocks in at about 5'9". She is incredibly durable for somebody who is kind of like a lighter, more like, again, like she isn't like the bruiser, like Vader Malgus build.
Yeah, she's very much more the acrobatic,
Yeah.
athletic, lightweight
Yeah.
fighter kind
Yeah,
of.
and it's like
build.
normally those aren't your fighters who end up being like your tanks. That is somebody who ends up kind of typically being like a glass cannon,
Yeah.
But that is very much not the case with Satele. We see her kind of get shit whipped a lot.
Yeah.
Namely, she
At the hands
catches
of Malgus.
Yeah, she
particularly.
catches it, and she
Yeah.
catches the fade from Malgus pretty hard and shrugs it off.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
like granted, he wasn't a cyborg yet, so most of his body wasn't metal. But like he just like grabs her by the shoulders and just folds her over his leg
Yeah.
on that space station above Korriban. Then not only does she shrug it off, she then like recovers into a jump back kick that sends him flying across the room.
Yeah.
So not only can she take a punch, she packs a
follows
punch.
up with a
Like
big punch
she
too,
like
yeah.
she's kind of the jack of all trades physically that again like doesn't get talked about I think enough as much as it should.
Yeah.
And again, like we said, she's very considerable endurance on the battlefield. Again, granted this would kind of factor into martial arts ability as well, but in the Hope Alderaan cinematic, we see her, hit the ground, exert herself using the Force by using that repulse that kind of knocks a bunch of Sith away. And then we see her just blitzkrieg like 5-6 and a war droid and then jump right into single combat with Malgus.
Yeah.
So,
which says a lot about her blade work, which we will get to in the next category. But yeah, just very
prodigious.
Speedy, very precise, very good. Yeah. So her opponent is the small but the mighty, the green, but not in the
Emerald Ketamine
sense.
freak himself.
The green, but not in like the raw recruit sense.
Yeah.
We've got
Yoda. I almost tried to make a joke, and then I realized the whole point of this being there is that they cannot see it.
He's greener than the screen behind us, which you cannot see.
Which, to your knowledge, is not green at all.
Yeah. Anyway,
a little fun thing when you go from having with like recording and like a studio where you can basically do whatever you want all the time. You have an idea how quickly you realize how much green you own?
I'd be like, I don't own much green, but if we
you
had
don't
like,
think
if we
you
had
own
like
much green,
if we had,
you don't think you own much green.
I really don't own much green. I think I can think of 2 shirts that I own that are green, and I wear crew necks most of the time anyway. But if it were a blue screen, I'd be in big trouble. I'd be in big trouble.
My Return of the Jedi Roosevelt's is fine because like Yoda's head is not the correct shade for it to get picked up. But if I stand up where it has like the little vignette of Luke and Vader fighting, Luke's lightsaber is the perfect shade of green. So I'll stand up and then out of nowhere, just Nerd Academy podcast lightsaber. And then there's another one I got recently that's like a shade of green that I have not attempted to wear because it just gives me anxiety when I turn into the green screen. I hate it. It just makes me feel like, I don't know why. Anyway, continue.
Yes, Yoda, by the time he is Grandmaster during the time of the Civil War with the Separatist Alliance, is probably around 860, give or take.
Yeah.
Maybe a little younger, but still, this boy is a geezer.
Yeah.
He is an old fart. He's got them gray hairs. He needs a walking stick for just regular traversing.
Yeah.
But he can still kick some serious butt. This boy is fast. If his blade work doesn't kill you, his old man screeching certainly will. He is about he's about 2'4". Of an unknown species, but his species as a whole, from all the samples that we've been given, are incredibly strong with the Force, just biologically, inherently. They have a very long lifespan. As you can tell, he's already like 850, 860, dies when he's 900. And he's very, very fast. He's very agile, even in his old age. So don't let the walking cane fool you. I'm I think this is
open
no
and
contest.
shut. Yeah. Well, and that's a weird thing with like talking about Yoda. And we talked about this whenever we did Yoda versus Traya last season. That like talking about Yoda's physicality, like you comes a point where it's like, okay, we're just gonna be like, this is how tall he is. He's old and arthritic. Everything beyond this is actually just the Force.
Yeah.
Like all the other crazy cool stuff is the Force.
Yeah, he's got a serious
Yeah.
Force boost keeping him moving.
Yeah. So like, and it's one of those times where like, if you watch other episodes and it's something that like we're kind of inconsistent with because like it's kind of a case by case thing where like, where do you talk about force-based physical augmentation? Is it with their physical abilities or is it their force abilities? And I think it really depends on like, well, how passive is it?
Yeah. Does he need it just to move?
Yeah.
or is it like a whenever he jumps and flips around and yeah,
exactly. Like there are some people who like it's more of like a passive, like, okay, I'm going to do this like crazy acrobatic whatever nonsense.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that did not consume like most of the gas in your tank with the Force, to put it in that way.
Yeah.
Like, but with Yoda, like all of the focus has to go to force-based physical augmentation. So like at that point, we're talking about your Force abilities. And this is not just a passive thing you can do to buff your other things. You are giving yourself a new set of physical attributes with the Force that changes the game.
Yes.
So as you said, kind of open and shut case with or without the assistance of the Force.
She's just
Satele Shan.
She's in better shape.
Yeah.
Yep. Very good. One of the requirements of being Grandmaster is having at least knowledge of all the forms, if not mastery.
Yeah.
But Yoda specifically earned the title both of Grandmaster and Battlemaster. So moving into the martial arts category, Master Yoda has mastery of all the 7 forms of conventional lightsaber combat. Although he most notably favors Ataru, as anybody watching him for 2 seconds could tell.
Yeah.
That's very much the form that he prefers, that he favors.
Yeah.
But
I've always wondered like if there's like I've always had like a chicken and the egg kind of question about Yoda's mastery of Ataru.
Like, is his form the necessity of his physiology, or
does his physiology make the form easier for him?
Yeah.
I've always wondered, like, do you do this because it's easier for you to just kind of slingshot yourself at somebody, or do you prefer this practice? Like, I've always wondered like what direction that goes in.
Question. That is, I'd be curious. We haven't seen much that I know of. I mean, I read the first 2 adult length High Republic novels, and in that time he was just like, they just kind of threw his name out there a couple times.
He shows up
on sabbatical apparently. This is funny to me that like Jedi take sabbaticals, but which is an interesting question because I think the word sabbatical comes from the Hebrew ideal of Sabbath.
Yeah.
So like on the 7th year you take a year off. But since Yoda's life is so long, instead of taking 1 year every 7 years, does he take 7 years every 49? Like I
don't think he can be 49 because Grogu's 50, so he's a baby. Babies don't take sabbatical.
Does he go 42 years and then take 7 off? How does that work?
I don't know, man.
Anyway,
I don't fucking know. I have no answer for you.
I'm just curious. So, where even were we?
I think we're
right. High Republic.
High Republic. Yeah.
So,
I believe he shows up a good bit more in the comics.
Okay, because
I believe in High Republic Adventures.
I've never seen him in a combative background in the High Republic
era. I don't think we've seen him throw down. I mean, maybe a little bit, but with like unarmed, or not like unarmed, but like
just for science. I'd be like really curious to see if in his younger years he favored a different form. My guess is no, but that would certainly hint at an answer to that chicken or egg question.
Did you watch Tales of the Jedi yet?
Yeah.
Because like Yaddle does not fight like Yoda.
No.
And it was like, and I had a moment. This is mostly for Alden Diaz, who sometimes gets these on the house because he's fascinated by listening to us talk about this stuff. I had a brief moment where I went, can I make something with Yaddle? Like
Just from
I had a
just from that-
brief minute. I had a
Dude,
hot
we
minute.
could. I mean, we've like the Jen Sarais and the Evan Novas of the world have certainly made more with less, I think.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest. We don't have a ton to work with Malgus. We have a little bit more to work with Malgus than we do with Yaddle, but I mean, us included have stretched the Old Republic cinematics. Like we've
Well, he also
scraped
has
that
like a
butter
whole,
as thin
there's
as
the
it'll
cinematics,
go.
but he also has a whole book. He has comic appearances.
But it's
He is the main
but
antagonist of the game.
You can't
so
convince
like,
me that it's like a 5-second clip on video is worth an entire book of description, in my opinion. Like hearing descriptions of it and seeing it play out are two very different things. And that one's for you too, Alden. I'd be curious to hear if you disagree with me on that. But
Alden, this is a while ago. I don't even know if this is on the public record or not. He hit me one time with, I want you to do Jaro Tapal, Cal Kestis's Lasat Jedi Master,
that we see for like 2
who-
minutes.
who we
and mostly
we
it's like in the background.
who
slaying,
we see fighting clones
and yeah.
versus Pong Krell. And he's like, I just want two giant handsy guys going at it with saber staffs. And I was like, and he made fun of me, and I went, well, there's basically not enough game tape for either of these characters for me to kind of like, especially in like a lightsaber combat setting, blah blah blah.
I mean, neither one of them see.
And then I took a beat and went, but gun to my head. I don't even remember what I
Just
said.
for fun.
I don't even remember what I said. And then Alden, like, after Tales of the Jedi came out, he was on Twitter, and he was like, like ideas. He was like top of my head ideas for like what a season 2 could be, and he had some really cool suggestions. And the last one was Jaro Tapal and Pong Krell. And I commented, I was like, "You son of a bitch! Like you just want to make this happen. You're just trying to will this into existence now."
I was honestly disappointed that this is a tangent, but I was disappointed that Tales of the Jedi were 3 vignettes from 2 people each. I would so much rather see one vignette from like 20 people and then another season of another like small vignettes from 20 more people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the background characters that are just like so fast, like your prequel era,
the Glup
High
Shadows.
Council
The Glup
members.
Shadows.
Yeah. I'd love to see just like little snippets of their personality. That'd be great.
I agree with you completely.
But I'm not in charge. I'm glad with what we got.
Yeah.
But I want more.
I said something similar when we did our review with Darth Chaco and Trey, where like I want the pendulum. I would, depending on if they do another season, who they pick. I would love to see the pendulum either sway into Tales of the Jedi is just Star Wars True Detective, and like it follows a different character, different setting every time.
Mm-hmm.
The name is the same, the basic vibe is the same, but different character, different plot, different whatever. Or it swings all the way into what you were just saying. It's just 6 anthologies.
Yeah.
Like, here's an Ahsoka, here's a Dooku, here's an Obi-Wan, here's a Qui-Gon, here's an Anakin. Be on your way.
Forget like that. I want to see.
Oh, like, I know. I'm just
Like, here's like even characters that we saw in Clone Wars, but we didn't see much of.
Caddy
like,
Mundi, Stacey Tim.
Even I would love to see another appearance from like Evan Peel or like Adigalia, like some of these characters that got a little bit of screen time. They were in the background a lot as like establishing shots. Like, oh yeah, they're still around. But yeah. Anyway, back on track. Good discussion, but we have a job to do.
Yes.
Let's hear about Satele. I think we pretty much. Oh wait, here a couple fast facts for you from Yoda. He defeated virtually every Republic era Jedi in the Order in a sparring match. Technically outfenced Dooku and Sidious before kind of being outmaneuvered with Force ability and hostages were involved. He defeated an entire army of battle droids nearly single-handedly on Toydaria. He had a squad of stormtrooper or little slip there, foreshadowing of clone troopers to help him out, but more or less he just outsmarted him, which isn't hard to do, but still he defeated the whole army, but he outsmarted Ventress, and that was important. Anyway, let's hear about Satele.
Yes, Satele Shan was dubbed a master duelist by her mentor, Keo Sendarach, which I just want to.
Chaos and Darch.
Oh, that was autocorrect fixing that one.
That's funny.
Chaos and Darch. So I just want to unpack that praise that Satele was running with Chaos and Darach.
Who himself was a battle master.
Well, hold that thought.
Okay, sorry.
He heaped this praise onto her when she was a Padawan. So Padawan Satele Shan
Master duelist
is
Padawan
being
Satele
praised
Shan.
as a master duelist.
Yes.
By her Jedi Master, who moonlights as the fucking battle master.
Yeah.
Is like going, hey, she's got
knows what
hands.
she's doing.
I'm warning all of you.
Yeah.
She can keep up with me.
Yeah.
And she's a Padawan. You've been warned.
Yeah. Now
I just want to put that all in context. That, like,
I will say though, by the time of the reinvasion of Korriban, she is, for all intents and purposes, a knight. Like, she is. You can tell that when she lands back on Coruscant, they're like, by the right of the council, the will of the Force,
Yeah.
like, you did it.
Yeah.
we got nothing to say. so like, let's be honest with ourselves. It's not like she's what the heck's his name? Like little. I'm blanking on all of their names, like the Padawans from the Clone Wars.
Oh,
the
Gunji
and what's her name and all of the
I lost all of them immediately. Good thing Eli isn't a patron.
I know. Oh yeah,
he might be coming from my ass right now.
Yeah, that's too bad. But it's not like she's like in the early stages. She's where Obi-Wan Kenobi is by the time he meets up with Maul. Like, he would have been a knight within the year at least, if not within the month.
Okay, with that caveat you just put on, yes. But I also do think it is very much worth noting that on top of
I get your point.
On top of this, oh yeah, she's okay. Everybody gets called a fucking master duelist. Like, I don't think there's anybody we've covered on the Versus series who in some way, shape, or form is not called a master duelist or like whatever. Like that praise is meaningless in a vacuum.
Not even a knight.
You're not even a knight. You're being trained by the resident battle master, and on top of all of that, she, not unlike Obi-Wan, is one of the first Jedi to confront a Sith in hundreds of years.
That is true.
So she also gets out of that engagement alive after holding her own with a Dark Lord of the Sith in Vindicant. Obviously doesn't have the proper Darth title. And the person who, over the course of that war, would be the Sith's heavy hitter in Darth Malgus. So again, I just want to put all of that in a box. Like we've talked a lot before about how we want to do like let's pit such and such as a Padawan against such and such when they were a Padawan. And here's the thing, we couldn't do that with Satele Shan because they'd kick their fucking face in. Like she would just railroad all of them, and it's not even fair or funny. But that said, she did go on as a Padawan again to take on okay, I'm trying to reread my notes here. Okay, no, she was a knight on Alderaan, I believe. But
by then,
my wording there was messing with me. But she would also go on to be, like, in terms of just sheer number, out of anybody in the Jedi Order, the Jedi who fought the most Sith.
Yeah.
Like, and in turn beat the most Sith.
And several of them on multiple occasions. Like, you see her crossblades with Malgus at least twice.
Yeah, we see her face off with Malgus twice. But again, that rematch that happens on Alderaan, like we said earlier, like, she just, like a hot knife through butter, through several Sith troopers, and a war droid. Boom, 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 boom. Doesn't even break a sweat. And then transitions from that group engagement right into a one-on-one. Which, as we've talked about before, there are some combatants who that transition between, a group engagement and a one-on-one is not an easy thing to do.
Like Fezzik from The Princess Bride. Yeah. Haven't fought one person for so long.
Exactly. It's a great comparison.
You're right. There are some really dangerous group fighters, and there are really dangerous single combat combatants, and often there's crossover, but like you said, making that transition as quickly as she does is somewhat rare. So that is certainly worth noting.
And into
that's
somebody,
a good point too.
And again, makes that transition into confronting somebody who has kind of made their bread and butter killing Jedi.
Yeah.
So like, there's a very like she's geared for this kind of combat in a way that even her contemporaries who are fighting Sith Lords on the regular, they aren't there. You know,
like she's a true wartime master. Like she's got more than just a theoretical knowledge and academic understanding like a lot of the Jedi have by the time of the Phantom Menace. Like she is like a true tried wartime Jedi. Groups, Sith, she's seen them, she's overcome. Very good.
But yeah, and in terms of actual martial arts ability, we're talking about like feats here for the most part, but we didn't touch on her martial art. Satele Shan, not unlike her great-great-granddaddy, and Exar Kun before him, is the prime example of why, yes, Nyman is the, I'm not super into the lightsaber stuff form for Jedi. It is also the form for people who are, I really like that lightsaber stuff.
Yeah.
Where again, Nyman is built so that you can do a little bit of column A, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column C, just so you're competent with the blade and you can get yourself in and out of a situation without having to be like an overwhelming master. Instead of being a jack of all trades and a master of none, you're a master of all with very little weakness, because all of those techniques help shore up your weaknesses against any other counter technique to a specific one.
Which is an interesting distinction to make, because like, yes, she's a Nyman specialist, but then what makes the distinction between a Nyman specialist and a battle master? Like there is a difference. There is a difference between having mastery of all 7 forms and having mastery of Nyman, which is in itself components from all 7 forms. It's like, I don't know. I would think of it as, like you said, a little bit of column A, column B, column C, but not any of them in their entirety. Like you've mastered the essence of all 7, but you have not mastered all 7.
You have proficiency with all 7.
For the sake of our audience.
And I think it's, and if this is another like statement I've been trying to figure out how to phrase correctly, that I've never been sure if I'm going to get it out right. Nyman to me is like the premium version of Shicho.
Interesting.
Shicho is the very basic tutorial form that, if mastered, you have a very simplistic but incredibly effective and multi-layered martial arts style. And elegant too. Teaser for next month. Same thing with Nyman, where like Nyman will get you like the blade basics of Shicho. It will make you, you know, basically proficient in like Makashi type blade work in the defense and offense of forms 3 and 4, and you know, blaster deflection that comes with you know, Shien, and it's the building blocks. Like you're basically just taking like it's like you have a bunch of different puzzles and you've put together all of the corner pieces from different puzzles. And then that is how most people use Nyman, is that it's like, here's a little bit of this one, a little bit of that one, a little bit of this one, and a little bit of that one, just to get me through the day, to get me out alive. And it is the people who are then crazy enough to figure out how each and every single one of these puzzle pieces from different fucking puzzles can make one giant puzzle. Those are the crazy sons of bitches that turn into your Exar Kuns and your Darth Revans and your Satele Shans, who use this form that is predicated on knowing just enough to get by to knowing just about everything to completely dominate.
But on top of that, like,
and you also just to piggyback on like Nyman and like things that come with it in terms of practitioners, one of its, you know, core techniques is it is the style of lightsaber combat that is the most predicated on integrating your force attacks, which we see her do very effectively. And we also see that it is a pathway to dual blade fencing, which again, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, you're not going to master a specific form. You're not going to like dedicate your life to the lightsaber. Okay, well, let's give you for lack of a better term, a gimmick that will keep you alive regardless. Because the very presence of that second lightsaber blade is going to force the other person to be on their back foot from the outset.
Yeah.
So like, again, it's all of these things that for somebody who like, I'm here to be a diplomat, I'm here to be a scholar. Cool. This will get you through the night. You put this in the hands of somebody who is prodigious in their use of it. Now you're dealing with a martial arts monster.
Yeah. Yeah. Which again, like I almost want to think that like being a user of 9-man and also being passionate about lightsaber combat is like the gateway drug to being a battle master.
Yeah.
Like if you've got a little bit of everything, like your corner piece kind of people, but you're like, hey, this is interesting. Like I want to learn more. And then you start putting the rest of the puzzle together. And then like before you know it, you pretty much become a battle master, whether you are awarded the official title of the
and that's
order.
the thing. I think that like for battle masters in terms of like that graduate, like battle masters, 9-man ends up being the preferred style because it in practice allows you to rely on all of your
to work from one to the other very fluidly without like
the techniques of 9-man require relying on the techniques of all the forms prior. Whereas like the act of being a battle master is knowing the difference, like in terms of like real world martial arts, is knowing the difference between like I'm doing like some form of like tiger style kung fu versus taekwondo versus, you know, Brazilian jiu-jitsu versus Krav Maga, where like the whole practice of like MMA as like a combat sport is like you have people who know everything I just said and will kind of like situationally, you know, column A, column B, and kind of pluck them all together. And that's where you get these prodigious users of 9-man.
Yeah. Very cool. Interesting study. That's like practice. We practically just did like a mini topic episode. I love it. This is a great episode. I love it.
Spencer's already like, let's go.
This is a great choice. Eat your heart out, Jen Sarai. We love you. But like, we're having fun. We're getting into the weeds here. Let's talk some more about
I would say,
Satele.
notable kills, feats, and victories. She fought multiple members of the Dark Council before she was a master, and either beat it or had either beat them or fought them to a stalemate before reaching the rank of master. Like that is like Ventress fighting her way through the Jedi Council, which she could beat and kill a good amount of those people,
especially early.
But like there's still, some that she would hit a brick wall.
I wouldn't put my money on Ventress in that fight, and like it just goes to show how impressive a feat this is.
Yeah, but again, like you're like in the prequel era, in the eras of Star Wars we've gotten to see on screen for the most part, there are a lot of Jedi killers. There are a lot of Grievouses and Mauls and Ventresses and whatever. This is the inverse, and not that like, you know, the Jedi are Sith killers, but like Satele Shan's a fucking Sith killer.
Yeah.
She is born, bred, and trained to hunt Sith. And again, and I'm not saying that like that's her ethos or anything, that like that there's like a I'm gonna hunt them all down kind of mentality with her.
But she can't.
But like
can't.
You know,
like, she's the one that the Sith younglings get warned about.
Like she kind of is like this like Sith like Baba Yaga type thing going on, you know? Like she's like Jedi John Wick, man. Like Satele Shan has that dog in her. I need to make that. I think I need to get a clip now. I gotta get a clip of somebody saying they got that dog in them.
All right, yeah.
I've now accepted I need it. All right. You already went over Yoda.
Yes.
So
this is tough. I want to say again, we get into some trouble doing like that. Well, so and so beat so and so, so and so would beat so-and-so. There were a lot of master duelists during the Republic era, and Yoda beat all of them. Like I think that Satele would beat
Syndralig.
Thank you, Syndralig. I think Satele would beat Syndralig, but Yoda also beat Syndralig. But like Yoda is also bested Kenobi, has bested Skywalker, has bested Dooku, has bested Mace Windu, has bested Plo Koon. Like, these are all really, really heavy hitters.
That's to say nothing of the people who were
it's like-
fighting to kill. That says nothing about, and that's to say nothing about Count Dooku, like Darth Tyrannus Count Dooku, and like him being able to outfence Sidious.
I mean, and Sidious himself outfenced 3 members of the council in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
like there's some real weirdness going on there.
Teasers for next month.
But like, I think as impressive as Satile's lineup is, I'm still not confident that she would, on sheer martial ability, be able to outfence Yoda. I think while there is again something to be said for sparring versus fighting. Like, Satele has fought a lot of people, like for her life to the death. Yoda has done some of that. A lot of his matches were sparring, though. You know, like you're not swinging to kill, you're swinging for leverage in many cases. You don't fight dirty when sparring most of the time, especially not Yoda or any of the people I rattled off, except maybe Anakin. But I don't think Anakin would fight dirty with Yoda, right? Satele doesn't strike me as a fight dirty type, but still, you've got that different.
You might knock over the green screen.
Oh, I'm gonna knock this sucker right over. A big old expose.
I know it's happened.
Pay no attention to the. But yeah, I don't know. I'm a little conflicted. I think I don't think it boils down merely to this, but like, does field experience matter more than sparring experience? And if like that really doesn't matter, I want to hear about it. Like, what do you think?
Oh, I wanted to hear you speak first, because I think it's a draw, and they get there from 2 very different ends. Like kind of what you were just saying, like Yoda's technique, and again, it's the give and take of Yoda. It is if you can outlast the Blitzkrieg, you have a fighting chance. I think Satele can outlast the Blitzkrieg.
I agree.
So it will come down to like a bare knuckle fight between them, or like in terms of like a sword fight. Obviously, it's not going to just be
there's more that
fisticuffs with a Muppet.
Well, we've got more to talk about on that category, but we want to save it because I think too often we give the farm away in martial arts because we jump straight to like we all like integrating everything. We want to keep it contained this time because I think it'll be more interesting.
But
sheerly on a martial level, I think you're
in a straight sword fight. I think they're equals in very different ways, but I think they're equals.
I would be inclined to agree with that. I think, interestingly, I think the verdict is going to be more easy than this category would be.
I agree.
I think once we put all the pieces together, it is going to be it'll be an easier decision to pick one or the other than just pulling out the martial category. So let's jump right in. Stubby, lead us off with our next category.
Oh man, I can't wait to do force abilities for Yoda. Just turn on the Benny Hill music, and you can just list force powers for like a whole extra hour of the show. She was born into a bloodline deeply connected to the Force, which is not always a guarantee of being a Force prodigy.
No, sometimes
there is a member of her family.
Sometimes you get a tongue depressor.
There is a member of her family who
deep cut for my Sky High friends in the old Disney days. Anyway,
I remember Sky High. That's why I keep trying to get you to watch My Hero Academia, because if you liked Sky High as a kid, you love My Hero.
Sky High was okay.
I love Sky High. Sky High was my shit, but in many ways, you have families that like the Skywalkers or whatever, like these like Force god prodigies. Mm-hmm. There's a member of Satele's family who like was born with like a real connection to the Force. So like sometimes you'll have that, but Satele is very much in keeping with the rule that there's just a lot of raw power that does not require a whole lot of honing. However, Satele, unlike an Anakin Skywalker,
has taken the time.
Raw power meets incredible training.
Yeah.
And you get somebody who is honed incredible power, so you're dealing with somebody who is a powerhouse telekinetic. We see her with effortlessly letting out force blasts of telekinesis. Mm-hmm. Obviously she drops a fucking mountain on Darth Malgus. let that just stand for itself. She also is very talented with force speed. She has talent with Shatterpoint. She's a gifted telepath. She is about on the level with battle meditation as her great grandmama. And the big one, they okay. Listen. Michael Jordan has a type of shoes and a logo dedicated to him dunking.
Okay.
Satele Shan is the Michael Jordan of Tutaminis.
Okay. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Like there's Jumpman doing the
Yeah.
thing on the shoe.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's like Absorb Lady
Yeah.
catching a lightsaber blade with her bare hands, and like
I was thinking like it occurred. I had a split second thought, like, because spoilers, Yoda also is very practiced and accomplished in Tutaminis. I was like, there's a kind of Tutaminis where you like catch lightning and you throw it back, and then there's Tutaminis where you catch a friggin' lightsaber, like not just like you swing it and I got you, but like goes for a stab and just like that. I don't know if you
get to hit him with the War Machine. Boom! You looking for this?
I don't know. You might feel free to push back on me, but I think that's like next level kind of Tutaminis.
It is next level. I think Yoda could do it.
I think probably he could.
He could do it. She did it.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between could do it and did it. Like there's
I kind of amuse myself thinking like the next time she's in the temple, just like casually walking by, and people are like she freaking got a lightsaber, and they're like, "What?" She's like, "She got a lightsaber."
Yeah.
Just like here in the scuttlebutt, like people like whispering, like the younglings who are like,
Grandma.
It's her. It's the blade. It's the blade catcher.
Yeah.
Like
there's Grandmaster Shan, who again just horrible things to Malgus. It was like, and it's so vicious too, man. Like she bodied that dude. Like, and again, obviously, Jace Malcolm helped.
Yeah,
like he tackles him. He tackles him. He distracts him. Like he blows part of his face off
a couple times. Yeah,
like I don't think. And this is something again. I rewatched Evanova 95's video where he was ranking the Grandmasters. And he had Satele in the top 5, I think in the top 3. The way he had it ranked was with Satele, Yoda, Luke from 3 to 1. And he was talking about how like some people really undercut what Satele did against Malgus. I agree with him completely. That so many people are like, oh yeah, she only did that because of Jace Malcolm. What the fuck are you talking about? Like what?
Like
no,
bro tanked a rocket launcher. He tanked a grenade at point blank range, and his face was messed up. But other like it'd be like like he spit out his tooth. And he was like, "What else you got?" Like Malgus got up from both instances of that looking relatively unfazed. So yes, the distraction helped, but like
he gave Satele room to work.
He gave her an opening and she took it.
Yeah, exactly. And they also brought up like, oh yeah, like in terms of like martial ability, like well these like those fights were won with her force abilities. And it's like, yeah, sure, but that's also because she didn't have a weapon anymore.
Yeah.
So the fact that she used her force abilities unarmed to defeat an armed Sith Lord, who's again like the only assistance she got was Jace tackling him and like setting off that detonator, like. Jace Malcolm helped. And it's definitely like if you were to like whenever the mountain comes down on Malgus, like to use video game terms, like he got like a little like plus 20 assist. Like you got the assist on Malgus, but like Satele did the heavy lifting here, quite literally. Like there's some like really wild uses of Tutaminis across Star Wars Legends, My favorite are like people who like use that energy absorption and like redirect it, which is again not something we've seen her do. It's something we've seen Yoda do, but like the Starkiller clone in the Force Unleashed 2, at least in the trailer, and I think they say he does it in the novelization as well. But like one of the Terror droids like shoots like an arc of like yellow lightning at him, and he catches it with one hand and then shoots it back out with his own Force lightning. Which I've always assumed like he was just channeling it through him and like amps it up coming out of him. But it's just it's a level of competence and understanding of the Force in a combative sense that is just unreal. And
yeah.
Okay,
so I'm willing to give the sub edge to Satele on Tutuminis, but for the Force abilities as a whole, let's look at Yoda again. Like you could just read down the list and he's accomplished, but we'll hit some highlights. So the compilation playing in our heads. Very, very, very powerful Force user, skilled with telekinesis. Couple examples, he outclasses Dooku during their, throwing
far more powerful than any Jedi.
Throwing things around. One of my favorites is we have it in here. Whenever he like deactivates and then pulls Ventress's sabers away from her. Whenever he got that Force push on Sidious, he caught a spinning flying saucer of a Senate shuttle thing. Senate floor shuttle, and threw it he caught it and then spun it and throw it back. He's just like, I see your Senate hovercraft thing, and I raise you spinning Senate hovercraft thing, and he sends it back at him.
He used Force Uno reverse card.
Which if you think about it, Sidious pretty much was like, oh yeah, I got nothing to say to that, because he like Yoda caught it, put some literal spin on it, and then threw it back at him, and Sidious is like, oh, well, I got nothing to say to that.
As the great American poet Ludacris once said, move, bitch, get out the way.
Yeah, Sidious is like, yeah, I got nothing to say to that. So he hopped off. So that's pretty cool. He, I love how he unswamped Luke's X-Wing with just.
I love when we look back at these notes and neither of us can tell who fucking wrote it.
Yeah, this is good. Like a couple episodes ago, where like you read a bio and we were like, "Did you write that? That was great." And you were like, "No, did you write that? No, that was good." Yeah. So yeah, he is highly accomplished with pretty much all of the combative uses of the Force that are common among Jedi. He doesn't use lightning unless he has redirected it from someone like Dooku. He has on multiple occasions caught Force lightning with his Tutuminis, which is
namely from Sidious, which is a feat unto itself.
Yeah, seriously. He, like we said, requires the use of channeling Force energy through his body to give him mobility during regular combat.
Yeah,
but he also is a very strong telepath. He has a deep sense of Force premonition, of seeing the thoughts and feelings of others and sensing what is going on in their hearts and their minds. So he is, he's a very, very broad, like you have to paint with a broad brush when talking about Yoda's Force ability. On the whole, I think in a combative sense, I think Satele's are going to be more practical.
So I'm glad you're going there, because I want disclaimer.
Oh boy.
I don't think anybody is going to make an argument for about 99% of Star Wars characters that they are somehow more connected to the Force than Yoda.
Okay.
Spiritually,
yes,
he is at all times in tune with the living Force.
He's like practically one with the Force before he passes on. Yeah.
That said, in this specific setting, Yoda can do some pretty wild and impressive shit with the Force. The issue is that he needs to shift gears in combat. The issue is that there is a constant, okay, I can't do any backflips for a minute. I got to use telekinesis.
Yeah.
And switch like, okay, you're coming back at me. Okay, I got to switch back into physical augmentation so I can fight you.
Yeah, you almost always see him either with the
So-
sword or using his force ability.
Because it's channeling in either one of two directions, that is a limitation that Satele does not have.
Mhm.
And against most opponents, Yoda is so dominant that it does not matter that he has to switch
Yeah.
gears.
But when you're talking about almost all else being equal, it's going
This
to
is a
make the
problem.
difference. It's going to
And you're dealing with somebody who, again, like, we've seen people land force attacks on Yoda before. It's rare. It doesn't happen often, but like, you know, it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Like Satele Shan, I think could break his barrier. I think Satele could, you know, hit him with a force push and he's going to go flying.
He is just a little guy.
He is a little guy, and like that's where that kind of becomes a problem because hey,
Yeah.
like she sent a grown man into a mountain and then hit the mountain hard enough with a big enough force push that it came down on him. If she were to hit Yoda with the kind of force push that, like, and again, like I want everybody to like think back to the Hope cinematic, like Satele at the same time that she was charging this like fucking Kamehameha of a force push, she was also pushing Malgus further into the mountain. Like you see like the energy like shoving him in while she boom collapses the mountain on him. So like she can divert her focus in a way that he can't combatively in this situation.
Very Kylo Ren-ish, you know, like
no physical gesture with the blaster bolt type
freezing
thing.
Poe for several minutes during it.
So then there's a dominance there and an issue there for like Yoda, where again, like that's what she was doing on something on a really grand scale. My friend, she hits you like that, you're gonna be a bullet. And it is game over for you if you take flight, especially with some of the arenas that are on the table.
Yes.
I just want to bring that up real quick. that is also an issue that should be brought up. But
I think that the edge clearly goes to Satele. I think we can
situationally,
yes. I think in a very practical
who is a better
sense,
force academic?
Yoda by far.
Then that's going to be the case with anybody who's a better academic when it comes to the force. Grandmaster Yoda.
Yeah, but this is a fight.
Yeah.
We've known some really powerful force users in the history of Star Wars that could very easily be put in their place in a fight.
Yeah.
But this is a case of somebody who has a lot of academic knowledge, has a lot of
and Satele is also an academic as well. Like we've been bigging her up as like this warrior, and also Yoda is like the quintessential Star Wars academic, but also Satele was the academic of her time. She was in many ways that era's Yoda.
Yeah, her force abilities are more integrated. They're more practical. Like you said, she doesn't have to shift gears. She is in battle mode, and that means she can channel both energies, both avenues at the same time. So Satele will get the edge for force ability. This will be a relatively quick section. We're going to do weapons and equipment. Yoda has a green Shoto.
I read that too, and that was the moment I realized you definitely wrote this.
I don't even know what it means.
This is what it reads for us.
Okay.
You heard it in my voice before I said it, and then you figured it out.
Okay. So here's what we wrote. I said
we need to go back and watch Treya versus Yoda because I really want to know if you wrote that. I'm convinced you did.
I'm pretty sure I did. Yoda has a green Shoto, but it's not that Shoto for a Shoto. It's like a long Shoto. It's not that Shoto.
Yeah, as Yoda is said in like a in-universe source book, that is basically like I use a Shoto because for me it's like about the size of a normal lightsaber, which is just really cute and funny.
Cute. Yeah. But yes, Yoda carries his Shoto for all intents and purposes. Though it's just a Yoda standard lightsaber. He has his regular standard Jedi robes, but he does not have the heavy duty utility belt carried by most. But let's be honest, that I don't think has ever come into to play in a fight. So he has a little walking stick, but he usually abandons that at the first sign of a bout. So,
or I don't know, maybe it'll get real bad and he'll start gnawing on it for the gimmer.
I don't know if it acts all that quickly though. I have a feeling it's more of a slow burn. The gimmer. Yeah. What we got?
For Satele, also relatively quick. She has a very ornate saber staff with a blue blade. She did at one point carry a single-bladed green lightsaber. and she currently wears light Jedi armor, as is almost always the rule.
for
Extra
Jedi of
blades,
this
yeah.
age. Yeah.
No, I was just to say for us, like,
Oh, true.
saber
she's got
staff
2,
is
so she wins. Yeah. But Yoda does have that gimmer
it's
stick.
options in combat.
If Yoda decides to dual wield with that gimmer stick,
Get a
man,
nice-
you got you could,
give her the R2 treatment.
Yeah. Exactly.
Find me my home dishes. Woo! Anyway,
All right. So Satele again gets the edge because she's got an extra saber.
Yeah.
More sabers, more options is typically the rule of thumb. Down to tactical ability and mindset. So Yoda is a very skilled strategist. He is a very skilled leader, inspirational to those around him. He is going to be one-on-one in this point, though, so that boils down to just skilled strategically. He often relies on predominantly relies on his force ability until the drawing of his saber is necessary. And then if that is the case, then he will pull it out. But his strategy is to come on strong with the force. And if he cannot gain leverage that way, then he will ignite his blade and he will come on in a very strong torrential salvo of blade work.
Yeah.
In an attempt to quickly incapacitate his opponent. Because again, he is quite an old fellow.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much acting on borrowed time and ability when it comes to actually using his blade skills. So he will try to quickly eliminate the threat, and in every case he has either, like we said, been diverted in a way that
I'm gonna let you keep riffing on tactics on my side. I'm gonna sneak past you while you do that. Oh no, this is so inelegant. Keep going. I'll be right back.
Behind the scenes. Yeah, so in every case that we see Yoda in a combative sense, he has either fought until he's fought to a standstill in both cases in the prequel movies against saber wielding opponents. The reasons for those were different. In the case of Dooku, it was because hostages were involved, the lives of others were threatened, and so he was forced to disengage. When it came to Sidious, although he had out-fenced Sidious, he was not ultimately able to beat him, and he determined that his life saved was more important than pursuing the Emperor's life lost. So in both of those cases, he came on very strong until he was forced to disengage. We have not, as far as I can remember, ever seen Yoda fight to a conclusion in terms of an all-out victory. It has always been until he was forced to disengage. So while Stubby is wrapping up, I will go ahead and touch upon Satele a little bit. She has a very head-on approach, much like Yoda. It is less of a frenzied head-on approach. It is just very direct. It is a direct approach. She tends to act quickly and to incapacitate quickly, but not in the same kind of frenzied flourish of blade work that Yoda does. It is often much more in the swift but calculated fashion that
it's
we see.
It's a blitzkrieg with Satele. Satele in many ways is kind of like Anakin done better. It's very much like head-on assault, lead from the front. Again, she is, like you were talking about with Yoda, of her time, esteemed battlefield tactician, esteemed leader on the front. Again, this is a one-on-one engagement. But yeah, no, this is like the one part of her stat sheet that's kind of bare, but it's because it's just remarkably simple. She's
highly unnuanced.
Yeah,
she has a direct approach, and it works almost always.
And considering the description up to this point, it's kind of,
it makes sense.
Yeah, but it's also weird that it's that barren of here's all these crazy things she can do, and she's so good at weaving them all together in concert with each other. It's just
she's just good.
She's like, I'm just gonna fight you.
She's just good.
I'm just gonna beat you up a little bit.
Yeah. So I would I'd be inclined to make this a draw because not that they both have strong but equal strategies, but they both have like equally unstrategic strategies almost in a way. Like they both come in strong but have really no plan other than win quickly.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the tactics are the same, and I'll give you that. The only difference is for Yoda, win quickly is kind of his best preventative measure for falling into a fail state for the fight. So for him, that like it's the difference between like get in, get out, and get in and get out before I start to crumble.
Yeah,
because that is not an issue that Satele has.
Yeah, we talk often about the idea of like a shot clock in this show, and for many characters, it's they begin to lose it a little bit, and that is the opening. Like like Anakin is on a shot clock once he
it's a weird like rage meter with Anakin, but with Yoda it's like
once you wear him down, if the fight continues for too long,
it's almost an endurance bar that's slowly falling.
Yoda is a rocket booster. He goes like crazy, but he runs out of gas and then you're adrift. Like so if any edge were to be given in tactics, then maybe I'd give it to Satele just because she does not have that weakness in her strategy. It's like for her, it's like win quickly. It's like win quickly so that I win. With Yoda, it's like win quickly
so that I don't lose. So
I'd be inclined to call it a draw.
Still call it a draw. I'm just saying,
but with the benefit in favor of Satele. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Did you have somebody queued up?
Oh yeah.
Oh boy. All right.
It's our recurring caller.
The one and only.
It's the one and only.
The reliable.
Yeah. All right. So what are we going 1 to 4?
1 to 4.
All right. I'm putting him on FaceTime for this one.
Only audience member who's
He said, "Sure, call me." If he doesn't pick up the phone, I'm gonna go ape shit. Oh, there he
is.
Oh Christ! I was not told I'd be on video.
You're not. Not for nobody but us.
For our eyes only.
Oh, okay.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's up?
You're picking the arena for Satele v Yoda.
Oh, interesting.
1 to 4 are your options.
1 through 4.
Yeah.
I choose 3.
I knew it. I knew he was going to pick 3. Number 3, the Mines of Kessel.
Ooh.
This is going to be interesting for this matchup.
Don't forget, Battlefront 2 rules: if you step in the gas, you get hurt. That's canon.
He's right. He's right. You will take again. This is where I wish we had we could figure out some type of health bar system to slowly just off a little bit. But
we do have a ring out rule though.
Yes, there is a ring out rule.
If Satele lands a force push on Yoda into the gas, he's done. His bodily surface area is so small he'd probably just die instantly.
Every bone.
If it's specifically that map too, then they can fight on top of Lando's Falcon.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of my ideas for versus maps end up being borrowed from Battlefront in some way. So,
let's make this one really cinematic. Let's hit all of the venues. Like we'll go down in, we'll come out, fight on. Like they'll be on top of the tripping over the turret. It's gonna be great.
Okay. All right. Well, that is that one. Okay. No, never mind. I was about to make this way more complicated on myself. All right. Thank you, buddy.
All right, man.
Bye.
Later. Everybody, go check out Octo Radio.
Alden from Octo Radio, good friend of ours.
Yes.
Fan of the show, a fan of his show.
Constant forced call in from us to pick arenas.
Yeah,
it just gets funnier every time. Every time it's Alden, it's funnier.
We used to do it with Siri, and then we did a couple random call-ins. Like we had Joel, I think, one time, and then it's just like the last couple times Alden's been the guy.
Yeah.
He's the regular cameo appearance. Okay, so this is going to be
okay.
Really
so where do we want to
interesting.
start this? You want to start this in the interior of the mining facility, or do you want to start this at that landing pad, where talking about the Battlefront map, the Falcon's part.
Here's where our decision could form a bias. If
I
we
agree.
if we start
I already agree with you.
if we start on the inside, then Yoda is not going to have as much space to work. And by the time,
because I completely disagree
and by
with
the
you. Keep
time,
talking.
by the time they get to the outside, like he'll have more space to do the crazy flippiness around, but his shot clock might have run out by then.
Here's the thing.
What were your thoughts?
My difference of opinion is, and I'm thinking about Dooku v. Yoda in Attack of the Clones. I'm thinking about him being able to use the environment to kind of like
the walls and the ship and
kind
stuff.
of, no, the
around.
interior. The
yeah,
interior.
I mean like the ship that he can like bounce around.
I'm talking about the interior of the mine.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
like stuff to bounce around, like
oh,
in
like the
episode
ship.
2.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like
no,
like
not
assuming
the
like the
Falcon,
Falcon's
not the
part.
Falcon, no.
Okay. Yeah, but like the same way he's like bounce
Yes.
off of that, bounce off the walls. Like he
Yeah.
will kind of have some surface area to kind of do his kind of like slingshotty top, like jumping all around her. And again, somebody who's using a saber staff, it's going to be kind of a cramped space, and like your economy of movement is going to be kind of whack there. So
That's true. It's also going to be though.
now outside, Steel can move around a lot more.
I think we need to make a decision because we're gonna talk ourselves in one direction or the other. Because like here's my thought too. In a closer quarter, if Satele lands like a force push, it's gonna be devastating. Like Yoda's gonna go 200 miles an hour into a brick wall, like 10 feet away. It's gonna be bad news for him.
We're wide open. He
We're
has
wide
the risk
open.
of going off a cliff, but he could also just kind of dissipate that as he just kind of flies. Yeah.
So, which I think we ought to just like choose, like heads or tails. Where do they start? Because I mean, part of the reason with the arena is like to add. We're it seems with this one like we're like tailoring it a little too much. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like the idea of the arena is to add like an unpredictable element to it. And I think with this one, if we choose one or the other, it's too big of a decision. It kind of removes the randomness of the setting from the outcome.
Yeah.
Do you think you tracking? Do you agree?
I understand what you're saying. I think no matter where they start, they will eventually transition to the other one.
I agree. But again, with like Yoda's shot clock, it might make a difference where they start and where
and
they
for
end
me, at least the way I'm looking at it is one of these is beneficial to Yoda. One of these is just generally neutral. Like I don't see the exterior being dangerous actively for anybody. Like, we were talking about how Satele like kind of is like quick with those heavy force pushes. Sure, Yoda also sent the Emperor flying across the room. So like, who's to say the same thing doesn't happen to Satele? That she just goes flying off that cliff or like in one of those little like, holes with like the noxious gas coming out of it. And outside there is still like a lot of those like weird walls and levels outside, or, again, say Lando's Falcon's right there that he could bounce off of. The only difference here is that Satele has room, whereas the inside is actively beneficial to Yoda. And I think that an argument can be made that Yoda could like capitalize on that advantage inside and in the fight early, but I don't think he would. Like, I think that.
Oh, I disagree.
I think that Satele could hold him off long enough to like kind of like tactically fall back outside, at which point they're on more equal plane. But
see, I don't know that Satele would have a tactical fallback in mind necessarily. Like from what we know of her, from what we've seen, she tends to fight on the ground that she's given. She doesn't move the battle a whole lot. And so I'm inclined to think if it starts on the inside, barring some cinematic act of you and me, probably she would not choose to move the fight outside. She'd probably just buckle down and fight. She like, I have never seen an example of her moving moving the fight to more favorable ground. Like every time, it's like
That's
this
fair.
is where the fight is. This is where we're gonna fight.
I mean, you're right. I mean, she had to be told to leave
Yeah,
on Korriban.
I don't see her moving the fight around. I think if it starts outside, unless Yoda brings it inside, she's staying outside. If it starts inside, Yoda's not going to want to go outside because of reasons we already covered. I think if it starts inside, it ends inside. That's just my
So you don't
thoughts.
think they'd move?
I don't think they'd move too much, barring cinematic acts of you and me. Because
All right.
what do we just like? Are you calling Alden again?
No.
You're like, hey Siri, inside or outside?
What's inside? What's outside?
We'll do heads is inside, tails is outside.
Hey Siri. Heads or tails?
It's heads.
It's heads. Inside it is.
Oh,
All
is that
right.
what you said? I thought you said.
Yeah, heads inside, tails outside.
Okay.
It's tails this time.
I didn't mean to hit flip again. That was so funny.
Just kidding. It's like, oops, just kidding.
That was funny.
All right. So
Damn. Wow,
So-
this changed a lot in 30 seconds, didn't it? Because I was on the way to being like, and we declare Jedi Grandmasters Satele Shan the victor, and now she is not in a very safe space.
I don't think she's in an unsafe space. I just like you said, one is actively beneficial for Yoda, the other is neutral. I don't know that the actively beneficial environment is to Satele's necessary detriment. Like I think in my opinion, while it is better for Yoda's style of fighting, I don't know that it is something that's going to pose a problem for Satele. It's going to be better for Yoda, but I don't think it necessarily creates any problems for Satele. Whereas like with the Anakin versus Maul fight, like it was very much to Maul's benefit and Anakin's detriment. Whereas this is just, it's kind of like, yeah, it helps Yoda out a little bit, but surely I think the environment is going to be the least important part of what goes on here.
Okay.
If it comes down to the environment, then, but it's like Yoda at his best and Satele at her best. The only, if we're starting in like the somewhat open control panel-ish kind of area and not like one of the little teeny tiny hallways,
Okay.
then I don't know. I think Satele can fight in a space like that.
So you think she can still beat Yoda?
Oh, I definitely think she can still beat Yoda. I don't like Yoda's going to be better because he has like it's like a room full of trampolines for him, but I don't know that necessarily puts Satele at an active disadvantage. I think she can still beat Satele at her best. It's just whether or not, or no, yeah, no.
She can still beat him at his best.
She can still beat Yoda at his best. The question now is, will she? It's probably very unhelpful.
No, I know. I understand what you're saying.
Let's walk through it. Okay. So they meet up. Yoda is likely to start this off with some flex and some force action. What does he have in the room to throw around? Not a ton. Like most of it are going to be like the consoles affixed to the floor. You might have a light fixture or two, but to my memory, at least from the Rogue One, or I mean the Solo movie, there's just like there's not a lot to, maybe a crate or two.
Yeah, there's some like hashtag Star Wars crates there.
Hashtag Star Wars crates, maybe to throw around. Yoda might go for that. I see a battle with Satele if Yoda starts it out that way, which I think he would, is going to be a lot like the Dooku battle. It's like, all right, this isn't going anywhere. We got to spark these bad boys up, right? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Yoda opens up with some force flexing. Satele's like, I can do that too. They spark up. Both of them are going to go in head on fast. Satele probably a little harder, like hit hard, hit fast, whereas Yoda is like hit fast, hit often. You agree with that premise?
Yeah.
Okay. So Once they cross blades, what do you think? I think Satele can keep pace with him, at least initially, possibly indefinitely.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. If I'm in Satele's boots, I do not want Yoda to be that close to me at all. And any type of confined spaces, especially after you come out of that control room, like when like in Solo where Kira does like Terrace Kaze on the one pike, and
Yeah.
you know, and again, like with like the Battlefront map in mind, where like there's all these like tunnels that either give you like a decent vertical, but you're horizontally fucked, or like you're in tight, like horizontally it's okay,
Yeah.
but vertically there's not a whole lot there. It's just a really scary space to be stuck with Yoda in, you know?
But you also like if Satele's game in a situation where it's
Especially
a
with
little
a saber
confined,
staff. Like
well,
you
with the
like so
sabers-
much of your space has already been consumed by your own weapon.
if it's one of those like wide but not like theoretically in a space that varies in width and in height, you could get in a place where you have enough for a flourish, in which case you just like create a wall of sabers and keep backing up. That if they get in a situation like that, I think Satele will recognize that she can't stay there or else she'll be in trouble. So she would not I don't think she would voluntarily move the fight to better ground unless she had to.
I think there will be traversal, and maybe they make it outside. I don't know. I think if they're given like, again, like thinking about the Battlefront map, where like you start outside, Falcon all the way in the back. There's like a little hill. I don't want to say hill, but like there's an elevated space, and then there's like the door up front and the door around the side, and then there's two doors up top. And when you are fighting through, when you first get through that first front door, that's like perpendicular to the Millennium Falcon. If they end up in that first corridor or outside, I think that's where Satele can shine. I think there's enough room for her where like she's basically put on like the same like balance beam as she was fighting Malgus
on that tree. Yeah,
you know, like where they both just end up on this fallen tree,
yeah,
and they're just fighting on top of this tree. Same
like,
kind of thing. Like
single
obviously,
plane.
exactly like this single plane where like she might be able to box Yoda in there, but I really think like if we end up in a more confined space, which a lot of the interior is, and if we're starting in that control room, which is basically like the central nervous system of this area, for them to move means they still have to come out of that control room and go through even more confined spaces before they get out to the open air. Now, again, this is where we get into these like weird shot clock questions. Do you think Yoda beats her before they get into the open space? Because here's how this plays out. Yoda's at his prime while they're in his best real estate areas. By the time he's already in a spot that's not beneficial for him, she now has the advantage while he's running out of gas.
I agree with that.
So that's where you get into the real problem of he beats her here or she beats him there.
Yeah,
and it's
I agree with that premise. I think she can outlast him until they get there. Again, I'm somewhat doubtful if she will recognize that that's what needs to happen. Like I said, I've always seen her like on the ground they meet. That's the ground where it ends.
Yeah.
So I don't know if she would like have the environmental awareness like a Maul with a saber staff type fighter would, where he's like, we need to get out of here. Like this is not good. We need to move. I don't know if she would have that kind of spatial awareness to initiate that move. Yoda probably won't go anywhere, but I think what we haven't really talked about yet is how the Force integration plays into this fight. If Yoda has all of the space he needs to use his blade work, if he has like I said, like a wall of like trampolines floor to ceiling, essentially, I doubt he's gonna think to use the Force. Like you said, he has to like practically shift gears to get in there. Whereas, I think
Satele can just kind of let one off.
I think Satele sees an opportunity while he's in midair and takes it, throws him against a wall, just once. I think that works one time, And I think, I don't know. I think that happens when he's pretty close to being out of gas, and that's what she needs to close the distance. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I want to hear your thoughts on
I
that.
know.
Like,
I mean, you and I are on the
think
same wavelength
she
there.
can beat him there. I don't think she initiates the movement, and I don't think Yoda does either.
I don't think it's a matter of the movement being initiated. I think it's just a matter of like I'm getting wailed on, and I need like the fight isn't static, and she's going to be the one put on her back foot. So Yoda will be moving her, in the same way that like. Not in the same way that like Maul is like leading Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon like into areas where he can, just do his thing. But
Nothing to see. Nothing to see.
I'm just stretching, guys.
Oh, we've been here a while.
Yeah. I don't think she's like stage managing Yoda out of the room. I think it is like,
oh no,
she's just on her back foot and moving backwards because she's being forced backwards. And again, like leaving the control room is scary. And I don't even know if she knows how scary leaving the control room is about to be for her. But yeah, does that make sense?
It does.
Like I don't think it's her like doing like a tactical retreat so much as it's her forced out of the room, and they're just going to move until they slowly like make the transition outside. But again, I think the main question here, like the crux and the most dangerous, important component is: does she go down in the hallway, or does she make it into the corridor, where inevitably we're dealing with a Yoda who's running out of gas and a Satele who has now been given the time to get used to fighting Yoda. So while he's getting sloppy, she's getting like more familiar with the fuck it. Anyway, but
surprise!
Enjoy the rest of the episode with all the family pictures in the background. Anyway.
Oh, lovely pictures. See,
isn't it weird when this thing comes down and you feel a full breeze come through?
Like,
yeah, it's a chill. Yeah.
See, I really don't want this to be a case of I pick who I want to win rather than who I think will win. I think Satele can definitely beat Yoda.
You do?
I think she can. I think there's a greater chance of her outlasting the initial push than there is of Yoda landing the incapacitating blow that early in the game, especially with the tools that she has in her arsenal. She's got an extra blade to work with. Like, Yoda has not on screen ever fought a staff saber wielding opponent in his usual flippity flip blitzkrieg fashion. When you have two blades, you can block somebody behind you like this.
Yeah.
Like you've got not only more offensive options, but you have an additional blade to work with. Like, you can cover your six a lot more easily with a saber staff. So if he's like jumping all over her, I think as long as her sense of awareness of like where he is fairly good, her anticipation of where he's going to strike can be fairly good. I think she has the ability to stave off that beginning blow, land a force push, close the distance, and end it. I think that I personally think it's more likely that'll happen. If not in that initial space, then once like he starts moving a little bit and his ability to kind of outmaneuver her is a little limited, she's got him right in front of her rather, which like we saw with Malgus, and like again that one-dimensional single plane thing, she's very effective in that sense. I think I have a hard time believing that Yoda will land an incapacitating blow early enough in the game for him to do so, if that makes sense. I think it's more likely she will outlast him and either end the fight in that space after like a well-placed force push, or just outlast him as they move through the little corridors. I think it's more likely that would be the case. Do you
I agree.
Agree?
I agree. I agree.
Yeah,
You sold
very
me.
good.
You sold me.
Very good.
Because
Very good.
I wasn't sure. That was my thing.
I
It's
know,
like, yeah,
I-
it's
and-
tough.
and-
It's a tough one. Yeah.
And I like that. This doesn't often happen. Like I have a lot of good opinions of Satele Shan. I think she's an excellent character. It's not like Malgus or Obi-Wan Kenobi, or even less with Obi-Wan, but like the characters that I'm just like, oh, I love it. Like I want to see them win. It's like a couple minutes ago, it's just like, am I wanting this too badly, or is it just like what I think will likely happen?
Yeah.
And I think I wanted her to win because she's cool, and also because I think she can definitely beat Yoda. But I think I would say out of 1,000 simulations, she takes it.
Okay.
She takes the majority.
I'm inclined to agree with you on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
All right. And with that, the victor.
I like Yoda, but
Yeah.
this is a really tough matchup for him, and I think that Satele is the winner.
I agree.
The winner.
So yeah, that is the victory to Satele Shan. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to the $10 patrons, Nick Johnson. We got Keandre Lloyd. Spencer is becoming the void.
Wait.
Okay, there you go. I feel so much more comfortable again. And thank you to Paco, or as he's going by, I don't know if he changed it yet, because Paco changed his name to $965 million.
900. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, that's so good.
I'm glad you immediately got it.
Yeah, it took me a beat.
Yeah,
but
well, they found for the punitive damages, and he messaged into the Patreon Discord a couple hours after the story broke. Guess I got to change my name again because now it's like 1.45 billion. So
wow.
Thank you to Paco, or as he's going
Paco.
by in the Patreon, $1.45 billion.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
Spencer was very funny while the video was playing. He's like, are you going to be relieved or feel like there's something missing in your life when all of this is over? But yeah, thank you to all our $5 patrons. Thank you to all of our patrons, period. But yeah, see you guys next time for Mace Windu versus Kit Fisto, or for us, what we'll be doing in the next like 10 minutes. So.
Bye.